Okay, I get a lot of people talking to me and saying that our training is really hard, really intense because of what they see on TV. And I just really want to say to all those parents, this is not the way we train our 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. There's a fine line between child abuse and hardcore martial arts training. And we do hardcore martial arts training with 4-year-olds, but it's to their level. In other words, we play lots of fun, exciting games where they exercise, get their heart rate up, but there's no contact. So just for all you parents out there and children watching, we do not let our children, anyone younger than 16 years old, get in here and train the way Ryan, Andrew, Ben, and in Carolina train. This is not the way we teach our children's program. We do our children's program on what I call playground self-defense. Also, too, you know, adult self-defense isn't about kicking someone in the head. In reality, a self-defense program needs to have ground fighting, which we teach here at Contemporary Martial Arts, which is what Ryan will be doing, mixed martial arts with jiu-jitsu and things like that, and boxing and low kicks. There's no way that someone could teach a self-defense system with no kicks below the waist, because you would have to be extremely flexible for that system to work. So that's why here at Contemporary Martial Arts, the kids may kick really high because they can, but our adult self-defense program isn't based on doing jump spinning kicks to someone's head 6 feet above the ground, because in reality that's not going to work. You need to know how to fight on the ground. You need to know how to throw low kicks, because someone that's 30 years old that's never done any sport isn't going to be able to come in here and kick someone who's 6'1" or even 5'9" in the head for self-defense. So just clearing that up, because we get a lot of questions, or I get a lot of questions on children's program and about self-defense. And in my opinion, mixed martial arts, which includes boxing, low kicks, knees and elbows, and takedowns and submission grappling, is the only way to go for self-defense. And any other system that's claiming that, you know, spinning kicks to the head is self-defense, it's just is a great sport, but it's not in reality a self-defense martial art. We're about 3 weeks from the fight. All the fighters are looking really good. We have a class going on right now, and we're about to go in and film Ryan, Andrew, and Carolina training, and then we'll get some sparring on video. So you can see on this upcoming episode some sparring. You get to see my wife for the first time sparring and punching and kicking people and them hitting back. And the bruises that you see on her legs, I did not give her. Ryan kicked her. Ryan and Andrew kicked her. So, but anyway, the sparring that we're going to be doing is going to be light and controlled tonight. Also, too, I want to tell all you boys and girls out there that when we spar inside the karate school, all of our children wear lots of safety equipment. They wear face masks, they wear body protectors, things like that, and it's very controlled, and it's very, we have a lot of instructors on the floor, so it's very well looked after, and we don't let children leave here having been hurt, because safety is the most important thing here at Contemporary Martial Arts.
My name is Carolina Coffin. Most of the kids in Hartwell know me as Mr. Chuck's wife. I am training for a low kick rules full contact kickboxing match that is scheduled for October 18th in Gainesville, Georgia. It's the first time I've ever been in a full contact fight. First time I've ever been in any kind of a fight except for point sparring, which is very light contact. That's what we do. That's what our children do in the children's curriculum at Contemporary Martial Arts. Training for the fight, where in fitness kickboxing class we only work on bags, which is stationary target and it's not trying to hit you back. When you're training for a fight, you're working as much on really good boxing and kicking techniques. You're working on trying to get the most power you can into your techniques. And you also have to work on blocking or avoiding being hit as much as possible, because the more damage you take on, the less likely you are to be able to win your fight. It really is a lot of pressure, because Chuck has been training fighters for quite a while now, and even though we've only had a few guys fight, they've built up a really impressive record for contemporary martial arts. And I really don't want to do anything to spoil that for Chuck's guys. And then the other thing is, for some reason, by association or marriage, everybody just seems to have this crazy idea that I'm just an awesome, awesome fighter. And I think I'm going to be well prepared when my fight comes. I'm training to win, but I don't think I'm up there in the top 10 in our school or anything. It is very difficult for your husband to be your coach, and I think anyone that has ever trained in any sport will know that sometimes your coach just really seems like a jerk. And when your coach isn't your husband, you get to go home and you can talk to your husband or your wife or your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister, or you can call a friend on the phone or something and tell them what a jerk your coach is. But when your husband is your coach and you go home, it's like, what do? You say, honey? Oh, wait a minute. You can't tell your husband he's a jerk. Well, I mean, you can, but it doesn't really help. And that's been difficult. There have been a couple of times so far in my training where we have disagreed about something, or Chuck has asked me to do something that I didn't feel comfortable doing. And it's just different, because when you live with someone, you treat them differently than if it was someone that you just went to their class. I absolutely think I'm getting the best coaching that is available to me, really anywhere. I will be, I know, more than prepared for the fight that's lined up for me. Conditioning-wise and fighting-wise, I'll be in great shape. The record at Contemporary Martial Arts shows that whatever it is that Chuck does with his fighters, it works. They fight well, and they win well. I don't think the difficulties that we may experience personally trying to maintain both a coach and trainee relationship and a husband-wife relationship. I really don't think that they're going to hurt my training or my ability to perform well in my fight. But I do think we'll probably have a few more rough days before we get there.
Me and Andrew are training for this fight once again, and someone else new on the team for this fight is Carolina Coffin, Chuck's wife. She was actually my very first martial arts instructor when I was 7 years old in 1996, I believe it was. And I really enjoy having her, working out, because she really likes to push the pace when she works out. And when you have people, you're training with who push the pace, that makes you, push the pace even more. It just makes everyone better. If you've got competitors, one person's doing better, the other person's going to try to, do a little bit faster, do a little bit harder. Then next thing you know, you just keep bumping up and up, and it just really makes everyone better. I'm fighting a guy named Russell Bennis. If you remember, this was Andrew's first opponent back in January, I believe it was, and it was a kickboxing fight, which Andrew won second round TKO, if I'm not mistaken. And this time I'll be fighting him in a mixed martial arts fight. I just found out that I'll be the main event on the card, which means the very last fight of the night. It's kind of flattering to know that you're the main event, but I'm not a big fan of fighting last. I enjoy getting my fight over with early and then being able to sit down and just relax and watch, everyone else's fights. This means that, I'm kind of peeking through watching other fights. I'll have to be, getting ready for my fight, concentrating on my fight. I don't really get to enjoy the other fights. But like I said, it is flattering to be the main event. So.
Ryan started working with me, doing a lot of focus mitt work, trying to clean up my boxing, get my punches a lot straighter and a lot more power behind them. You really have to learn how to punch well. It's not, you can do okay just watching and listening to instructions, but you really need someone focused on even like the moves of your feet and your hips, your arms, your shoulders, everything's got to work together to get the best punches. It's also very difficult to put together combinations that are going to be effective in a fight, and that's the other thing Ryan started helping me do, was put together some short little combinations so that you don't just run in and throw one punch and get back out. You actually are stringing together 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 punches. So Ryan's helped me a lot. He's also one of my favorite sparring partners. Ryan is just phenomenal with his ability. He'll be fighting, for instance, one of our other fighters, Andrew Ballinger, which is, they fight, it's all out, looks like to the death match. And in the 15-second break between the round he's fighting with Andrew and the round he fights to me, he can go from fighting at that all-out 19-year-old boy level to fighting at the level I need for me to get better from my fight. He'll hit me hard and he'll kick me hard. He makes me pay for my mistakes, but he doesn't abuse or brutalize in any way. It's just exactly at the level that I need. I think Ryan got a lot of his control from all the years he spent training and competing in sport karate. Sport karate, unlike full contact, is more a game of tag, so you've got to be fast and you can put a little pop on your techniques, but you're really not. There are no knockouts. If you draw blood, it's a disqualification, unlike full contact, where a knockout is the same thing as a win. So he has a lot of control, a lot of precision, a lot of accuracy, and very good awareness of how much power he's really putting into a technique and how hard it's going to land. I had started my training, about the middle of May was when we started kind of focusing in on me getting ready for a fight this fall. And the day after my 42nd birthday, on July 12th, I was here in Chuck's Saturday morning full contact kickboxing class, sparring with Antoine Orsley. He's been at our school for probably 10 years, if I had to take a guess. He's one of Chuck's adult black belts. And we were sparring, and I threw a round kick. I mean, just an everyday run-of-the-mill round kick, and caught his elbow with the second toe on my right foot. Broke the joint at the bottom of my toe and lost, golly, I was off my feet completely for a week and didn't get back to fight training for 6 weeks. I was able to get back to my resistance training and a little bit of cardio after about 2 weeks, but it was a pretty big setback. It made Chuck especially question whether or not I would be able to get ready by October 18th, because I really have such a limited background in full contact, even though I've been in martial arts for almost 13 years. I was very fortunate this past weekend, which was the weekend of September 13th, Chuck was able to schedule a seminar for our school with Adam and Rory Singer from the Hardcore Gym. A lot of people are familiar with them. Rory was on the 3rd season of Ultimate Fighter, and also Forrest Griffin, who happens to be the UFC heavyweight champion, light heavyweight champion right at the moment, was a product of Hardcore Gym. So they're pretty famous. They are very, very good at what they do. They've been training fighters for a long, long time, and that's really all they do. They don't have a fitness program. They don't have a children's curriculum like Chuck does. So all they worry about is training people to fight. So they came and did a seminar for us. And they were kind enough, because myself and Andrew Ballinger both have kickboxing matches, they focused probably 80% of the seminar on stuff that would help us. There was a lot of stand-up, a lot of punching, some great combinations. They helped me a lot with the power in my round kicks that I was really struggling with, trying to switch from a sport karate kick to something that would really have some power behind it. And that was a very good experience for me. I think it's going to show up right away when I get back to sparring again. I'm 42 years old, and most of the time I walk around weighing around 135 pounds. I really felt like, especially after I kind of looked at some video and some photos of some of the fighters, maybe it's a woman thing, but I really didn't feel like I was as big as the women that fight at 135 pounds. I felt more like I needed to be around 125, 120 pounds for my fight. So on August 1st, my fitness classes were kind enough to oblige me. We started a 12-week challenge, going to help them and help me too to get in shape. but I weighed in on August 1st at 137 pounds. I've been working on my diet diligently, and right now I'm walking around about 130, 129, somewhere around in there. I've noticed just a huge difference, especially in the shape of my arms and my back, and I think it's from all the extra boxing and punching that I've been doing. And also like through the waistline, and again I think it goes back to all the extra boxing and kicking. Even though I've been kicking and boxing all the time, doing it seriously with some intention behind it seems like it's making a big difference. And obviously eating just absolutely clean is very important. Number one, because I've got to get my weight down, and number two, because you can't train hard if you eat garbage. I also, one of the other things, as Chuck has been training fighters all along, I have tried to offer them some dietary advice because it's something that I'm pretty good at. I don't have any formal training, but I've studied nutrition for years. And I know what things are good for people to eat. And Chuck's fighters, lots of times they don't have a lot of weight to lose, but they need to lose a few pounds, and then they'll end up needing to cut a few pounds when they get to the very end. So one of the things I hope is that maybe if I actually get a couple of fights under my belt, it'll make it a little bit easier for Chuck's fighters to take my advice more seriously and get the most benefit from it. Ryan does something that is just, to me, crazy. He walks around weighing approximately 175 pounds, and he fights usually either at 155 or 160, just depending on his opponent. One of the problems that he has is there are a lot of foods that he doesn't care for, and he also was having a hard time getting in enough meals every day. He would tend to eat like one huge meal a day or maybe two huge meals a day. And when he was training for his last fight, I helped him figure out some things that he actually liked to eat. I've actually even taught him how to make baked chicken breasts because that's one thing that he really likes to eat. It's really good to eat while you're in training because it's good lean protein, which is one of the things you need plenty of. And he eats oatmeal now. He likes it. And he said for his last fight, he felt better than he had felt because he was eating better. He still had to cut, I think, about 12 pounds on the day of the weigh-ins, mostly sweat that out in the sauna. But by the time his fight came, he weighed in 24 hours before his fight, and he was good as new, absolutely fresh come fight time. You could not tell by looking at him during his fight that he had subjected his body to that kind of a cut. It was an amazing recovery. I'm fighting a girl from Hiram, Georgia. Her husband fights for Team Alpha. We watched him fight at the last ones we went to in Dothan, Alabama. He won his fight. She's 24 years old. I think that she is a little bit shorter than me, but she was at the fights, but I didn't ever stand next to her or get to size her up. But I do think she's maybe an inch shorter than me. I might be wrong. I don't know how much she weighs. She's built a lot different from me, but she agreed to the fight at 123, so I guess she feels good about being able to make that weight. I don't know anything about how long she's trained or what kind of training she's had, if she's done any ground fighting, which wouldn't make any difference in our fight if it's all been stand-up. I know that she has not had a fight before, so she's 0-0 just like me. And she's in the same boat I am. We have 30 days now left to train for our fight. And I know I'm training.
Muay Thai fight. It's like my first fight, except this time we'll be able to throw elbows, and it'll be a 4-rounder. My opponent's Josh Shattuck. He's a pretty experienced fighter. I think he's 4-4, so he'll definitely not be a walkover. Well, pretty much like Ryan said, Carolina is in extremely good shape, and she pushes all of us. And having her right there beside you, you never want to get beat, even in training. You always want to be the first done, first to finish. So having someone right there beside you pushing the pace really helps motivate you to do your best. Watching Carolina hit mitts and spar, she's improved a ton even since the beginning of training that I've seen. Chuck's been working with her pretty extensively on the mitts, and her hands have come a long way, and she's mixing her kicks in really well, changing her levels. Really, it's her opponent's first fight too, but the talent level is just, like I said, it's on a different level. I really don't see the fight going all 3 rounds.